Hey, what's going on, guys? Today's going to be more of a rant than anything else. We're going to be going over the recent news regarding Pokemon Home, specifically its pricing. Now, it's no secret that I strongly disagree with the direction Pokemon has been taking things, especially with the recent release of Sword and Shield, and this video comes from a place of bias. However, it is my goal to provide an adequate argument as to why Pokemon Home is not worth what it costs. If this type of video is not your cup of tea, I totally get it. I have tons of Temtem, Koromon, Kindred Fates, Monster Crown, etc. content slated for release in the near future, so stick around and I won't hold it against you if you want to skip this one. This video is not an attack on fellow Pokemon fans or even Game Freak despite their bad decisions. I get that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company as a whole have more say than Game Freak does, but that doesn't change the fact that what's going on is unfavorable to say the very least. So with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into our rant. So let me preface this whole thing by saying yes, $16 a year is not a lot of money. No one is arguing that the home service is just completely unaffordable. That's not the point that most people are trying to get across when talking about Pokemon's blatant cash grab, nor is it the point of this video. If I see someone going on in the comment section about how people need to get a job because $16 a year is too much, I'm going to assume that A, either you didn't watch the video, or B, you're intellectually inept. Now with all of that out of the way, let's talk about Pokemon Home and why people are upset about it. So for those of you who don't know, Pokemon Home is a cloud service that can hold your Pokemon for you. There are two options in which you can use, a free one and a premium one. I'm going to break down the differences of each right now so there's no confusion. As you can see here, we have a basic and a premium subscription. Moving Pokemon from Pokemon Bank is unavailable in the basic version, but it is available in the premium version. Only 30 Pokemon can be deposited in the basic version, but 6,000 can be deposited in the premium version. In the basic version, you can stick 3 Pokemon in the Wonder Box, which I'm assuming is some sort of Wonder Trade type thing. And you can place 10 Pokemon in the premium service. Number of Pokemon that can be placed in the GTS at once, this is a big one. The basic lets you do 1, the premium lets you do 3. So that's right, GTS is only available in Pokemon Home. Room Trade, which I'm not too sure what that is, but basic lets you participate and premium lets you participate in host. The Judge function, which for those of you who don't know is essentially the IV checker, which is already available in Sword and Shield, is unavailable in basic and available in premium. I'm sure that's just a convenience thing. So as you can see, using Pokemon Home is technically optional, but if you decide not to do it, your Pokemon from previous titles will be locked behind a paywall forever. The Pokemon Home subscription does not include the Pokemon Bank subscription, so you'll have to shell out another $5 for that, totaling $21 USD a year. Yes, that's not going to send anyone onto the street, but that's not what the issue is here. The issue is that this is a microtransaction that Game Freak has subtly snuck into their games and fans are eating it up. First of all, the GTS was completely removed from SWSH in favor of Pokemon Home. Luckily, you can still use the free model. However, there are some limitations that I'll get to in a moment, and it just makes you think, why isn't it just available in the base game? It's been available in every generation since Generation 4. The GTS has also seen no significant upgrades since Diamond and Pearl, essentially being the same, allowing you to store 1 Pokemon and offer it up for trade. Now we see that they finally decided to make it a little more convenient, allowing 3 Pokemon to be deposited, but oh, guess what? It's behind a paywall. Also, the free model only allows for 30 Pokemon to be stored, which equates to about 1 PC box, as opposed to the 6,000 that could be stored in the premium version. Bringing this back to the GTS for just a second, because the free model only has 30 Pokemon in it, that means you will only be able to really make use of the Seek option on the GPS. You'll only really have access to about 30 Pokemon as opposed to your entire storage. So if someone wants, let's say, a Dunsparce for a Kadabra, well, guess what? You'll have to connect to Pokemon Sword and Shield and quickly transfer that Dunsparce into your Pokemon Home and then pray it didn't already get traded, unless that Dunsparce just happens to be one of the 30 in your home. Now, 30 out of 900 Pokemon, it's very unlikely. So essentially, this was ripped out of Pokemon Sword and Shield as a series staple and then re-added as a shell of its former self unless you want to cough up $16 a year. Essentially, it's selling you what it already took away at a reoccurring cost. Let's also mention the fact that the only way to have a national living dex in Pokemon right now is on your phone in Pokemon Home. So back to the amount of Pokemon you're able to store. 6,000 sounds like a lot of data if you think about it. But when you realize this only includes the Pokemon's information, it gets a little grainier. According to those in the know, 6,000 Pokemon takes up anywhere from 1.5 megabytes to 2.5 megabytes of space in the cloud. For comparison, your favorite song, depending on the length, would be roughly the same amount of megabytes, if not larger. For example, the Temtem Wild Battle theme at 2 minutes and 30 seconds long is only about 2.3 megabytes on my hard drive. Furthermore, services like Google Drive will give you 15 gigabytes of data for free. And for those of you who don't know, That's about 15,000 megabytes compared to the 2 megabytes. And if we use 2 megabytes as a starting point for 6,000 Pokemon, you're looking at 45 million Pokemon that Google Drive would give you for free. So this alone dispels the server cost argument that I've seen being spread around. The truth is that Game Freak is charging this because they can. They have a monopoly on this because they own Pokemon. No one can make something to compete with it, and if they charged $100 a year, you'd either have to shell up that or never transfer your Pokemon. That's just the way it is. That being said, we can still call the Pokemon Company out on their scummy monetization strategies. Another quick point to mention is that people are saying there's going to be a month free when it comes out. That's hardly the point. Anyone buying this game after that first month that the promotion is running is SOL. So what have we learned here? Game Freak or Pokemon or Nintendo or however which way you want to slice it is charging money for something that literally costs them nothing, and they're overcharging at that too. It just goes to show another way that they will make 99% profit off of their products. Pokemon games in general cost very little to make, and they make a very large profit margin. As of recent, they've cut as many corners as possible and have oversold to gullible fans over the recent years. Now we have an incomplete game that's selling you the rest of it at an extra $30 USD, a mobile app that you have to pay for to get the proper Pokemon experience, despite the fact that in the past you didn't have to pay for transferring features, and of course a half-baked game that if you don't like, you're apparently just toxic. Unfortunately, this is Pokemon in 2020. I've wanted to like the more recent Pokemon games, but I really do see them spiraling downhill as they become too large for their own good. They come out with half-baked products because at the end of the day, their merch sells more than enough for the franchise to stay alive well after the video games mark their end. It's a really sad thing to see because I play a game like Temtem or Coromon, and I feel the love the developers put into them, but then I play Sword and Shield and it just makes me sad. So I just want to reiterate one more time, it's not about the $16. It's the fact that the $16 is arbitrary and not worth what you're getting, and you can literally get 7,500 times more data for free. For a similar price, you can get 100 gigabytes a year, which is essentially 50,000 times more data. To put it into perspective, it's like going to the grocery store, buying a few bags of chips, some pop, and a chocolate bar for $16, and then walking down the street to your local coffee shop and paying $16 for a drop of coffee. Like literally a drop. Sure, I can afford it, but why? The drop represents the 2 megabytes you're getting compared to the 100 gigabytes you can get for a similar price. So yes, you could afford that $16 drop of coffee, but why would you want to pay it? Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below about this whole situation. Do you think Game Freak or Pokemon or Nintendo is just doing everything in their power to monetize Pokemon as much as they can? Do you have any counterpoints? I'm always up for open debate, so don't be shy, and make sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at GymLeaderEd, and until next time, peace.